Good morning. This is Engineer Suraj Singh, International Professional Engineer, Chartered Engineer, speaking from Faridabad, NCR, Bharat, India. This is 14th February 2020. In sequence as episode of Civil Engineering Building Practice, Field Engineering. Title is Field Engineering, relevant to buildings and other structures. Publication of this title was 1296. Started from Script writing started from 92. In those days, took 4 years due to no advanced management, no advanced technology available, no computers available, all manual work done by screenshots, by screen printing, by CVS publishers in Darya, Delhi. Now, this talk is not for advertisement of book, it was just for interaction with people. What is in my mind and what was in my mind in those days about you can say 25 years back for dissemination of knowledge to this book is very small portion of this book that can give you something, but always something is better than nothing because basics are same. There's no way in talk so far made. I have shared with you I have shared with you issues related to contracts, not in full yet continuing, issues related to activities in buildings and management on sites and relations to designs, coordinations to work activities, disciplinary coordinations and liaison as well as other activities which are very important from viewpoint of work. This this discussion, this talk, this conference, whatever you may call it, this has an objective, the scope that this knowledge must be shared by those who are either entering field of engineering profession or who are not in profession but yet they are working in field somewhere as foreman, supervisor, or in some of the general foreman, those who don't have any formal background of engineering education yet they are doing good in profession to an extent production or delivery is concerned, without whose support, without whose help projects cannot move, whole world cannot be educated, or out of 100 people working on site hardly one or two are educated, particularly in profession. So even inside of a big plant facilities where thousands people work, thousands personal work, you will not find more than 20, 30 or 40 people who are well educated or in profession. So it's kind of lead work or follow-up work. Either you are in lead or you are in follow-up, knowledge should be with you to whatever degree required. It can be very high knowledge or it can be normal, moderate. It depends. My talk is basically regarding management and supervision and also prosecution and execution of activities. And there are two ways only, as I discussed before. You do it directly yourself, everything, which is practically not possible. It's not a shop. Construction is not a shop actually. It's in industry, though in our country it's not called industry yet. It is an industry all over the world. We call it unorganized sector in our country, but this is question not organized. Organized question is production is there, money is there, and resources are there. All will be used, and we start from budgetary provisions of feed to completion of project physically. This is range of this management, range of this top profession of world. I am calling top because way, this is gateway to all others. If there is no building, if there is no road, if there is no infrastructure, there is no city or urban area, or you can say developed rural area, you cannot move further. No further activities can be conducted. Either you have to stay in jungle, forest, and if you want to stay in developed area, you have to depend upon those who are involved in this area. And this is a development area, this is actually civil engineering area, mechanical engineering area, and electrical engineering area starting with. We start with civil engineers who start with scrap. They start with even removing rubbish from site, rags from site, and all dirt from site. All trees, or you can say waste trees, waste plants on site. So they start from that scratch and they deliver a finished product. You can call it turnkey project. This stage is covered by civil engineers and embedded within or inserted within as an integral team are mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and you can say further disciplining engineers including security, software, hardware, and all those. But at secondary level, when building is ready, mechanical engineers come. When building is ready, structure is ready, I can say not exactly. Mechanical engineers come too late, but electrical engineers work side by side with the structure because they have to do conduiting of wiring, they have to do switch paneling, and they have to do as civil work moves, they move. So civil, electrical, mechanical are leaders in this industry. It's not boosting actually, this is work requirement. They are basics, you may say civil, electrical, and mechanical engineering basics which are followed by others. All. And civil engineer is a person who starts in jungle, means at that time you can say he is wild, he is not human, he has to go to site and see everything at survey time, and then at start time he has to start at scratch. Survey is done in sun, and that means maybe surveyor has to stand there, and surveyor means nothing but engineering professional. That work is carried out and whole project is done same way, whether project is at initial stage or construction is at late stage or is completion stage, same activities are done. Yes, of course, that poor engineer may get some sitting area, temporary sitting area, either in some shade below some tree or on some stone, or he may get some table of his own constructed at site, or you can say, or he may get some room when building is under construction, some slab has been laid and some rooms are ready. So this is, you can say, a raw office, an office where there's no facility. So life of civil engineer is like that, means you are neither officer nor worker. You have to move in all weather conditions. Your dress will not be factor for you. Your hair color shall not be a factor for you. Your face is shining or rough won't be a factor for you. What way you are living or eating shall be a factor for you. You have to adjust in all circumstances. It may be wind of 150, 60 kilometers per hour, or it may be thunderstorm, it may be dust storm, it may be rain, flood, or whatever. You have to adjust like you are a cow or buffalo. No problem for that. You are there. You are dealing with those people who are very illiterate, and you are dealing with those people who are bullish, and you are also dealing with those people who are security, and two, you deal with police and public and your managers and public managers and government officers and architects and others. You have to share your knowledge and your interaction with all levels of people. So you are all-rounder in management. Civil engineer can call oneself all-rounder manager. He is in administration, he is management, civil engineer is in working labor, civil engineer is foreman, civil engineer is office boy, civil engineer is a peon, civil engineer is software, civil engineer, because you can formulate on Excel, so you are a part software also, software person, hardware person, because you are all working hard. You are a person of complete dogmatism, you may say. There is no credit to you. Don't worry about that. The body shall give you credit. Credit is always snatched. Credit is always self-evaluated. You credit yourself. That's good. That's an award for you. Nobody will give an award because you don't deserve any award. Award is given to those who do nothing, who only show their dresses and their writings, and you do not write because you are not used to writing, you are used to working. Yes, if you write, it will be, you can say, horrible and tremendous, because your English will be very different than all other Englishes. Your style will be different. Your setting style of pages, your setting style of paragraphs, your setting style, whatever else, would be completely different. So I have seen chances of writings done by these engineering basics, civil, electrical, mechanical. Their writings are not very attractive. Even then, material is there, substance is there, and those who write very top level grammatical translation adjective one, there's nothing in that. Imaginations only. That's the only difference. Technical writing and commercial writing and administrative writings are all different. We are related to commercial writings? No, very little, only in procurement. We are related to technical writing? Yes, very much. Technical writing is backbone of your work. If you cannot write technically, you cannot comprise, you cannot constitute method statements, and then you cannot work in sequence. You cannot communicate to people who are working on sites or projects to tell them what they are going to do, and that is very important. Technical writing, method statements, clarifications, queries, coordinations, all these are very important. And that's what purpose in contracts. I explained before also, just for reminding. Contract means either EPC, or EPC means engineering, procurement and construction, which includes designs, not only detailed designs, also FEED. And FEED means FEED, which means front end engineering designs based on budgetary provisions, based on feasibility report, and based on finances possible to be arranged by promoter who is responsible for complete liability of project. So that party is one, EPC or P or C or whatever, design and build, or PPE or whatever you may call it in your way. That is no serious nature here to be discussed. Question is fundamental. Requirement is there is one point is sitting at one point is sitting owner of project or promoter. It can be government or it can be private person, doesn't make a difference, or it can be a company or an organization who has certain scope in that field. That owner is one part, and there are two other persons sitting. One is engineer who works for owner and works for project both, and on other end of triangle is contractor, maybe EPC or CE. This triangle has three corners, and triangle always has three corners. Relation of two is this one contract called management contract or supervisional contract, that exists with owner and engineer, where engineer is termed designated as engineering contract or engineer or project engineer, and employer is employer, that is owner. Owner is party one and engineer is party two on management and administration type contract, whereas on other one contract is construction or EPC or C. On one hand is employer, that is owner, party one. On the other side is contractor, EPC or C or design and build, that is party two. There is no direct relation between engineer and contractor. This is administrative and contractual or intercontractual relation, you may say. There is a triangular flow. Employer and engineer are each other talking together, and there are contract, and then engineer talks to contractor. That is intercontractual arrangement, and contractor and employer talk to each other on another contract. So these both charters are I can call them charters because these are written rights arranged by all these parties, three parties, on two different contracts. So for engineers, most important is, as far as site work is concerned, field work is concerned, design work is concerned, engineer designation, title and contractor title. For designs and for supervision, for surveillance, for whatever else you can say, contract completion or contract management, project management, administration of contract, all this is affected by engineer. And total project execution, management, construction management, contracts follow-up, contracts operations are conducted by contractors. This is triangle. Employer is employer. Actually, there is a silent party, passive party, responsible for financing project. So you can say that is a party one to an extent of contracts are concerned, but it's not very active on scene. It's like you can say hidden one, concealed one, behind curtain. But that's very important one, significant one. And a company engineer who has to do all too much work on back of scene which people do not know. As he has to do designs, complete designs, has to do bidding and complete management post-contract. Post-contract means post-award of bid, award of contract, tender to contractor. Lot of responsibilities, a long list of responsibilities, and here is contractor which has to deliver job according to that bid, means according to work done by engineer. All those documents are to be complied with, confirmed physically by contractor. So this triangle is very important to keep in yourself so that you can understand role of all these professionals, engineer professional and contractor professional, as well as top professional employer who is responsible for project as well as for both professionals, contractor and engineer. That I had discussed long back. I'm just reminding you terms so that you can understand. Employer is promoter according to law, or a business person, you may say, but it's a promoter is promoting that project, but employer promotes that project. Engineer, a person who is responsible for complete documentation, administration of pre-contract award work and also post-contract award work for supervision and surveillance of all those works done by contractor. So engineer as engineer, total responsible for effectiveness of contract, for reliability of contract, making sure that contract has been effective, has been done according to all details in documents whatsoever. And that is engineer is supported by personal support, ordinate subordinates, for example, resident engineer, who is further supported by resident engineer means that representative engineer means when engineer is not able to site or it's not possible, in that case resident engineer is responsible on behalf of engineer to an extent project is concerned, working is concerned, not finances. The engineer is not liable to finances, share responsible for finances. Now all that's done by engineer itself, and then resident is further supported by specialist engineer or associate registered engineer or assistant registered engineer and further clerk of work and all that. And they have associated administrative personnel. And for the contractors concerned, contractors agent is there who is responsible for contracting company. This is contractor's representative or contractor site agent or contractor's administrator, whatever you can call it, or project manager you can call it. It's up to you. I don't mind about that. And further supported by various divisions on site, divisions of professions. In these days, there is a construction division or safety division, or planning division, or quality division, or administrative division, or procurement division, or whatever it is. All depends upon whatever the other site agent is responsible. Total work and quality, quantity, safety, and everything. Available of materials in time, resources available in time, and everything is available. So that contract, according to contract requirement, all operations of contract must be done per clauses of contract. There should be no lapse in anything. That is what is expected on contracts. I have explained, I shall keep on explaining time and again because this is very, very professional terms, these very professional terms, and these are long-term effective on you. You cannot understand in one go. You have to keep up on learning and learning and learning to update yourself. That is what I am expecting myself to share with you, because it's not a poem, it's not a novel or 10 short stories and you just go and read this. It makes you better when you do it further and further and further. Just like you write some correspondence, first time you will not make it worth, second time you will make little worth, third time maybe you make fully correct, and fourth time maybe it's professional writing. But all are effective. It may be professional or it may not be professional. Contents are there and contents do have certain meaning. That's what is important, not something else. I'll move on to further details of contract, what responsibilities they have, contractor and engineer. And before that, I have already expressed my sketches, displayed my sketches to you for information. There is sketches, and I expect, I understand that you may have interest in that. Even if you don't have instead, I can't help you. It's up to your interest what you think or what you don't think. No one can force anybody to learn. You can learn yourself only. I am no one to tell you something, but I'll add something to those sketches just for information how what can be done, how projects can be affected, if not, how we should do. Few sketches I like to show you today, only few sketches, because these resemble to something, and other sketches I'll show you later on, because I want to discuss with you some spotted issue on contracts, which are very important one from practical viewpoint, and then I'll take up later on FIDIC, etc. Now I'll just show you some sketches, and for your information means what should be done. For example, I'm giving you those few sketches means how should I used to do in that. For example, this is, you can say, a house, a small house, isometric of a small house, and then there is further go down, you'll find that I mean it's a long one, and it's not computerized one. This is just a manual. You may say it's manually drawn, which is actually learning and feel. You have to draw yourself. You will take this way also, means see it correctly. And if you see other one, I try to take all four elevations of this. Um, these sketches tell a lot. Means once you are able to draw, sketch means it's very easy. You may call it a model as well. It doesn't make much difference. It's a modeling tool. You may call it drawn model, not plastic model, something else. Uh, I just try to show just to means the, and I'll show you a line work of this as well. The pages are stop peeling out. What is that? And this is plan of that building. Plan of that building, and also shaded plan as well. You can see the shaded plan just for information. I'm showing the shaded plan of that. I'll just sort of this. You may say I'm just showing for information. No, nothing to do something else. For information purpose. So these are all part of this book. It can be added further. There is no secondary statement on that. There's another one same way. Another one same way, the same elevation, different way. We'll go further in that. Line of that, line up from that. The another one like this. It's a building, another building, same way. And I'll further show you very specific on this. Uh, Currently, others the remaining I have many sketches. I'll show you what later on. Very few specific I'll show for some important elements. That's called township. Township it is called. It's very dark actually because photos work very well, but it is not clear. May not be clear to you. But this is a garden, play garden here where the buildings are shown. I'll show you something very specific in landscape park or you can say entertainment. This very specific one, and just I'll show you that one here. Mm, it is you can say very important one. For example, you may say, just note what I'm showing. Maybe you are stunned to see what I'm showing you. This is actually my a concept of some water garden on plan or map for country. It's written Bharat inside, and this is a landscape on some rock slab, some you can say some artificial slab on which I try to show my concept of how we can put fountains within and water surfacing here and there on various steps and the ramps here, access ramps too. You can see that. This was drawn in you can say 92 or 93, some that time exact I don't remember. It's completely on A4 size page drawn. The various landscaping features are shown. You can see this landscape feature on this. Let me say it's difficult to show here. The landscaping feature here. There's a flow of water in this design from top to bottom, and you can walk around on this. You can walk around this slab. The route is shown. You can walk around. This pavement is shown. Walkway is shown. You can walk around among in between waters. You can travel here and there. Stepping is shown there. And I'll go further on to something else and then just for you. Maybe you don't find interesting that doesn't mean that. And there is a. This is also very dim, but the buildings are there. Maybe it is dim, but buildings are there. There's written location on that, which is I'll show another one. It's not very clear. So the screen printing did not give clear picture of that one. I'll try to give some better one. And that is, for example, I have taken this another complex. This is Guru is written here, and Granth is written here. So this is a complex, integrated complex, and the shape is Guru Granth, Guru Guru, Grunt is Granth, and these are buildings actually. There are facilities available around. Infrastructure facilities around these buildings is complete 25 to 30% covered area on that plot for ground coverage. This is Guru shape. This is complex township, integrated township, integrated, and then similarly it's here something else which is you must say this is shown another one which is Jesus Christ, Jesus, Jesus and Christ. These are shape of buildings. Then hospitals, schools, and there is a cross building here, cruciform building, and there is another some other structures there. So these are facilities, and you can say integrated complex, which I have many one, not only these one. I'll show you them in long list, which I have separately big pages of drawings. This was because these were made part of book. So and this is Lord Krishna. I have shown you this. I go further on this. Problem is, then you see, oh, you can see this is Gautam Buddha. Let me see Gautam Buddha. This is Gautam G-U, young Gautam. Then it is Buddha, Buddha, with the same complex. Gautam Buddha and same infrastructure facilities around this plot, buildings, all same symmetrical, but entries and see roads are there, internal roads and various buildings are there. And then if you go further on that, I find when it is Bharat. Bharat is also very dim plan, but I'll show you the other one. This is Bharat, Bharat, Bharat Mata. It's not visible here in this, but it is there. Bharat Mata. It is Bharat Mata. You cannot see this, the very dark one. And I'll show you. Similarly, I have drawn many more. I'll show in full scale later. So now it's only this much I can show you. And I have to show you some more also to make to see. We move further also. It's very interesting actually. Interesting in the sense that this conveys some meaning. And that meaning is also very important. From is just wait. Yeah, it's God. You see, this is. You see what is this? Can you see this? What is this letters? Nine. So this is building nine. And then similarly, this is eight, seven, six, five, four, and this other one same. 15 August. Yeah. And you go further and find 4, 5, yes, go to. Well, I show you. This is also example I shown, and I'll take you back to our concern of talks, which is very important. This later I'll take you later on. I'll move back to our talks, which are very important. In fact, as I conferred with you about contracts, and I now moving on back to same discussion, and that is here I start with again. Yes. Now yesterday I talked to you about contracts, and I explained to you about certain contracts which are not end of that. But these were, you can say, these were different types, and these were package, deal contract, bill of quantity contract, schedule of rate contract, lump sum contract, itemized lump sum contract, bills of quantity and percentage rate contract, cost plus percentage contract, cost plus fee contract, labor rate contract, target contract, and construction by direct labor as well as subcontract. There are certain miscellaneous terms within these contracts, and I was very interested in explaining about lump sum contract and lump sum itemized rate contracts. And I explained to you yesterday what is lump sum and what is lump sum itemized. Lump sum itself meaning total sum. Lump sum means you cannot change that sum. That means lump sum. Whatever is there in drawing, whatever is there in specifications, whatever is in plan, whatever is covered in that contract which you have signed, both parties have signed and executed that contract. There can be no change on cost, on fixed price. Whatever is there is to be done on site. It is given on specification, it's not given on a specification. What's given in drawing, both are there to be complied with until there is change or there is some addition or omission. Addition or omission can impact cost. Additional design can impact cost, but status quo of executed contract cannot allow any change on price. That is called lump sum fixed line. And I separately explained itemized lump sum. And difference I explained also. Basic difference is in an itemized lump sum, items are also included only as items and their rates. No cost on that. That is for purpose of disputes support, dispute resolution mechanism support. There are various items. All are written there in every bill of quantities. If there are 10 buildings, 5 buildings, each building has one BOQ. Even external work has one BOQ. And in that BOQ is package BOQ. All disciplines are included in that BOQ. From clearing site to completion of that one, all scope coverage is included in that BOQ. Still, that is not binding. Just remember, items are there for purpose of guidance, for purpose of direction, because some bills of quantity rates are there and cost is there. Cost is not much important there, but rates are important. When there is a dispute of items, there is addition or deletion or something on contract that must be evaluated with, that must be cost wise. What you have to find cost of that, and that cost shall be depending upon whatever unit rate is fixed, and that unit rate means it should come out from that BOQ of that building, which should be used as yard, as that term line to calculate that disputed or omitted or edited item cost. It may be for deletion, omission, or for addition. Both ways it would work. That's only a purpose. Or these can be given separately also on contract. We'll charge this much, not that much. If you are having dispute, this rate on POQ is not valid, we'll charge this much in case of omission or addition exceeding certain fixed percentages. And that can be called a qualification in certain cases and normal way in certain cases. It depends upon what sort of work contract it is. Itemized lump sum. Lump sum remains same. No one can change that lump sum. Even if your BOQ is correct in calculation or it's not correct in calculation. If it is correct, fine, there's no problem. If by chance your BOQ sum is more than contract tendered, after scrutiny sum comes more, then you agreed then your sum will be reduced, agreed sum will be accepted, and in case calculated sum or worked out sum comes lesser than you bid for, then they will ask you reduce your sum because your calculated sum is coming lesser than your offer. This is what means itemized lump sum. That sum is honorable in both cases. If your calculation is wrong, according to calculation you paid less, means fixed price shall be reduced. And if you miss some item on that bill or in that way, even then you have to do that job because it is given in drawing, or specifications demand that, or procedures demand that within scope of what you agreed for. There is no way you can say, no, it's not a bill, I won't do that. As contractor, no, you can't say that. If there is loss, means it's your problem, and if there is profit, it's your problem. You did not read drawings, you did not study drawings correctly, you did not read specifications, you did not see complete scope. This is your problem, not owner's problem. Because this is lump sum, you were given an opportunity, you were provided with all documents, standard documents, drawings, complete sets of drawings, and bill of quantities and specifications and all that. You are invited to site to see what environment site has got in, what is your scope, how you to do it, and all references for applicable codes and applicable reference of specifications included in that description of specifications and contract documents and conditions and everything. You are then owing responsibility of all those documents to be implemented with. And if you cannot understand that, then you cannot understand profession of contract. You are not professional contractor. If you for everything say, oh, that example, hey, this is raining, and you go to engineer, or oh, this is raining, I cannot do work on this date. It doesn't mean anything. Yes, it is raining, I agree. But I have given a condition, I have written my specification of contract documents. You are an experienced contractor. You have to ensure records of past 50 years, how environment was, how weather was. You are conversant with this site. You must be conversant with this site. And if you are not conversant with this site, you should expect support, or you can aspire support to draw risk employ someone who knows that, who is aware of that site. Then you work out your cost. This is complete professional. You cannot say today is raining, I want to know. You must know there is a rain day. You must know what temperature there in that area. It may be 55, 50 degrees. You say, oh, 50 degrees, my people cannot work, give me extension. That is not way of professionalism. This is what is important. That's why they search for professional people, not for laymen, not for those who are not experts. Professional means one who is expert, who can command in that work. So you are. We are hiring you only because of that, not because of something else. This is what contracts are. You cannot claim everything. And you understand essence of contract, you assess industry activities, you understand meaning of good work or conventional work or practice work. Comma and question mark shall not solve your problem. Lawyer cannot solve your problem. Judge cannot solve your problem. Your problem can be solved by you only. Engineer understand what you think about this writing, and you understand what engineers think about this writing. That is what coordination is. That is the mindset is. You cannot raise question of English language here. We are not learning English. We are not teaching English. We are not teaching contractor. Contract is not learning from us, and employer is not teaching anybody. This is communication language of contract. It doesn't mean that it should be grammatical or it should be translation type. It should be language that is comprehensive, to an extent is transferable. It is transmissionable. It is transpiration. It can transpire very well. It can communicate very well. Meaning should be clear. And which terms are very difficult, cannot be understood or can cause misconception. Definitions of those terms are already given in contract language. What is engineer? What is employer? What is contractor? what is subcontractor, what is agent, what is material, what is drawing, what is tender, what is, you can say, what is time, extension of time, what is contract time, what is contract guarantee, what are procedures, and which laws apply, which jurisdiction applies. All that is given in details on contract details. So there is no way. It's professional writing, professional documentation, legal documentation. You cannot run away from that. That is what contract is. So everybody cannot work on contracting. Contracting is not that you just go and work and come back and claim payment. It's not that. You are paid for everything written in contract. Each and every page you have to read and understand, because you are going to sign each and every page of that contract. Once you convert that tender to contract, you have to sign each and every page, and engineer has to sign each and every page on behalf of employer, or if employer sign itself, no problem, it's allowed. Because engineer has to check even then. Even if employer signs, which certainly would be, if there is no representation to engineer, engineer in that case also has to initial all pages. So it's a law document, it is charter documents. Both parties are agreeing on something, so that is the legal charter that exists between party one, that is employer, and party two, that is contractor. Name of engineer is there, title of engineer is there, representation of engineer is there, responsibility engineer is there, obligation of engineers are there, and similarly, all these are written for contractor. These points must be clearly and explicitly understood. If you want to move in profession, or otherwise your designs, your technicalities do stand only at junior level, not at senior level. Because you cannot understand interaction among team members. You are a team member because you are a designer. You are a team member because you are an engineer. You are a team member because you are a resident engineer. You are a team member because you are a contractor, and all contractor personnel. All are team members. You say we have done design, we have delivered also. No, you cannot say that. It depends on our contract, that's okay, but even then you are responsible. If suppose slab falls or fails, if you are responsible, oh, we deliver that, we don't know what to do. You cannot simply say disclaimer, we have to include a disclaimer. We are not available on site, we are not know what's happening, we don't have any power to control, there's no control management from us, and we don't know what's happening on site, so it's beyond our control, we don't know what you are doing. That's one part of the story. Other part is your design is there, but you are liable to design, you are responsible for design. If design is okay and all details in design on site are okay, even then it crashes, then you are responsible or not responsible. Just think yourself. How can you say you're responsible? You're the supervisor, that's fine, there's someone else is supervising. If that person supervises well, something's wrong. There's some fault in design. So these are very complex issues, cannot be taken lightly by you guys. Try to understand, and that's why I'm stressing on this point. What's happening in our country is rubbish. People do not understand anything, despite they are educated. I can't help them because they don't want to help themselves. And those who cannot help themselves, God cannot help them. What I am. Seriousness is not a business. Seriousness is not by face. Seriousness is by mind, by attention, by concentration, by delivery. Seriousness means connection of all locations. That is seriousness. For example, if you count from 1 to 10, how will you count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What does it mean? Understand it now. What does it mean? If I stand on 1, I have to reach 10. How I have to travel? 1 to 2, right? I cannot say 1 to 10. That is they're flying, that's not walking, that's not development. I take a flight and take off from 1 and reach 10. No, I'm not talking of that. We're not flying, we are walking, we are in construction. Flying won't construct something. That is magical word only. That is magical. Somebody comes, Vishwakarma comes, stand like, okay, I make house, come on. House is done. That is imagination. That's not reality. Reality is, I'm standing on one. I have to work, hard work. I have to go to two. Okay, one milestone is available. Then I have to again work, go to three. Okay, I got milestone three. Then four, then five, and so on and so forth, and reach 10. When you cover 1 to 10, this way of working, all numbers are over. You have met number 10. This serial is 1 to 10 is called seriousness. This is serious status. It doesn't mean you have to feel like this, I'm serious. No, that is not seriousness. You have to be serious for each sequence, whether it is in sequential way or it is in parallel way. Both way you have to be serious. That is called degree of seriousness, which you must understand. And this never stops, this never ends until your project is delivered at final completion. When your warranties are over, you are clear of sight, you are discharged. A discharge certification issued by engineer and employer, you are free to move out of this, and I close my project. When you come, tell me, I'll open gate for you. Up to that stage, you have to be serious, and that is called seriousness. And this doesn't apply to project only, it applies to life also. When you are working in designs, you have to be same way, design everything, sequence. When working to site, you have to do that way. And whatever else you are working in your life, you have to learn that way. That is seriousness, which has been missing from my nation, unfortunately, because of political issues. I'm not discussing that in this talk. I have too much to discuss in other talks, non-engineering talks, non-field engineering talks, which are many. So I will like to advise all, whoever you are, wherever you are, all engineers and non-engineers in profession of engineering. You may be supervisor, you may be foreman, you may be worker, you may be superintendent, you may be engineer, you may be designer, you may be quality guy, you may be safety guy, you may be whatsoever you are. To all, don't take engineering for granted. And don't consider that you are only designer, not site person. And don't consider guys that you are only layman, you are only site man, and you are not design man. Both are both. Maybe you do not know details of design, you don't know the calculations of design, theology of design, methodology of design, but you are implementing design, you implement it. It's more important than design, because designer has got every support of software, methods, formula. You have your own support on lay on field. You are arranging everything. You are not imagining anything. You are arranging material. You are arranging workers. You are arranging equipment. You are arranging management. You are arranging safety. You are arranging quality. You are arranging everything that can be assembled to product. So you are no different than designer. Your design is different. Your design is to do design for that which is designed. Understand? Your design is to design that which is already designed, to do that. So your design is different. It is physical, it is mental, it is spiritual, it is interlogging, it is you can say diplomatic. Every quality is there. And you should be proud of that. You are not sitting in room alone and delivering design. No. You are exposed to all weather conditions. You are exposed to physical environment. You are exposed to public. You are exposed to your seniors. You are exposed to your consultants, and consultants are exposed to you. You are exposed to nature. You are exposed to workers, and you are exposed to, in fact, hardship. That is very, very, very important for field guys. Field is field. You are open to all. until you complete site. You have to receive abuses, you have to receive your awards, maybe you have to receive beatings, you have to receive curses, and you have to do job digesting all these if you intend to be successful. And if you do not intend to be successful, you can leave job and go join another job, and you find same thing there, and leave job that and go, and then leave that and go, and then leave that and go. Your cycle moves adversely. Remember, you are dealing with everyone, so you can't be same as design engineer. Your nature is different. You are a fighter, you are a styling guy, you are resistant guy, you are offending guy, you are lover, so you are a fighter. But deal professionally, do not take it personally. Because you are working for project, you are not working for some service of personal person. You are not touching feet of honor. You are not touching feet of your contracting company. You are not touching feet of engineer. You are not touching anybody. You are doing your professional work, and that engineer is doing its professional work, and honor is doing its professional work. So they all are doing their professional work. Why to worry about that? You are doing your job, and that's it. Limited job per job description and unlimited job per your activity. You are doing job, you are working from PN post or office boy post to general manager post, all posts you are covering, you are covering yourself, and you are interacting with those all who are engineers and those who are non-engineers. You are interacting with everybody. So do not underestimate yourself. Your shirts may be very bad, it may be stained, your pant not be well dressed, you may not wear tie, you may not have a hat, hard hat only. Your lifestyle is different. Girls may not like you, you may not have a girlfriend, no problem. And no use if you have hard drinks, there is no use, they will help you. Tea shall help you, hot water shall help you. Think that way and work. I am just talking this personal talk because you need that. I want to encourage you. That's why I'm talking like this. You people may call you layman. You are. Yes, thank you very much. I am layman. What's the problem? Let fall. You be intelligent. You be brilliant. Keep that balance with you. Generally, designers and planners and those who work in offices, they call site people laymen. You are not using your mind. You are layman. Okay, gentlemen. Okay, I am layman. I am layman, but you be fit man. Give me good design. Give me good planning. Give me a good document. Give me a good safety plan. Give me a good quality plan. Give me best so that I can work best. If I have to raise 10 questions in one drawing, who is layman? If I have to raise 10 questions, 10 queries on one drawing, tell me designer is layman or I am layman. Who is layman? I can discover your mistakes. You are not understanding your work. I don't understand who's layman. You define yourself. You are layman or I am layman. And if I don't find any error, I am happy. The design is helping me. I am straight away doing job without waiting of answers from consultants or from designer for clarification. That is exactly what is required. I want to say, do you understand constructability? Do you understand buildability? And if you cannot understand that, if you don't experience construction in field, you are just issuing design, just tag on materials. You are not doing shoes. You are not doing clothes. You are delivering designs. Your design should be perfect. Yes, there can be few questions. Indeed. Nevertheless, it should be workable. Side guy who is layman expects designer to provide good details so that this can be directly implemented and worked to save time, and this should be friendly, site friendly. I'm not saying my friendly, site friendly. You are not even inquiring in market with dia steel is available, and you're putting dia the unknown. What material is available? You're not sure which material I'm going to use, and you're putting in design something unknown. That is what's not required. That is what coordination is. Yes, maybe in schematic drawing you are not understanding what material would be, but in late drawing or revised drawings, you can say that I have revised this drawing, I got information, I have read that. That is what is required. Maybe I am contracted, doesn't matter. But I am your friend, I am member of team, I am co-worker, I'm co-labor, you as labor, I am collaborator. So I must be supported by you and I should support you in both ways. Because our goal is same: project achievement, project completion, project delivery. Your goal is same, my goal is same, employer goal. Where is dispute? No dispute. There are support safety, support quality, support all, support administrative support, license support, all support supports are there. But where you fail then? We fail in our minds. Because we don't realize what you have to do. When you don't realize, we don't plan accordingly. I am layman, I am contractor, I am working on field, and I'm doing your final product. I am going to shape your design, the safety materials, your quality materials. So I am point of attraction. I am point from where either concentration comes or divergence comes, convergence comes. Convergence is at my point and divergence is also from my point towards you. You are coming towards me. I am point of convergence. Try to do this way. This is a system. And if you don't understand this, keep yourself in mind, you're educated, I'm not educated, no problem to me. What I am, I am. I have a contract. That's more important in my education. This contract gives me power to work, to coordinate, to talk to you and to question you. That is what is important. Because without my support, you cannot do it. But whoever is my place, contractor is contractor, engineer is engineer. Without my support, your design is rubbish. It's no use if I'm not there. You do yourself. You come here, you work yourself. You will not come because contract is there with me. That's what is important. So why I'm stressing is we have to clear in our minds that we are professional people. If we have that clearness in mind, if we have a responsibility feeling in ourselves, we have think we are obliged to something, and field must tell that. Works must say this work is professional and this work is layman. I have seen works which are neither telling anything nor telling something else, because there is no one to supervise that, to control, to pre-plan, to post-work, nothing. So what is that? Means no management, no project management. Project management is learned in field. Planning is done in field. It's not done in office. You may take a drawing, package and plan. That's conceptual. That's not actual. Until you go to layman and ask or see what's doing, you can't plan. You can't understand side layman problem. You can't give solution because you are failing to understand. And you fail to understand, you have only to understand. You are not child, you are not KG guys, you are not student, you are professional. You must be expert to know my problem. And what I write to you, you must understand my concept, my essence. Don't check grammar, don't check translation, nothing, no meaning of that, because you don't know grammar also. I know how much English you know. No problem. We are not talking in English to each other. We are not learning and not teaching. This is not English school. This is a project. This is a contract. Be clear. We have certain contractual relation, intercontractual relation. That relation is more important because we are applying that to work. This is our relation. So I further move to talk of something else now, because this talk cannot stop at one moment. It goes on and on. Whenever I think, I talk and you talk, no problem. This is profession. This is construction. This is design. This is bid. This is people work. This is resource work. This is work for sake of work. This is ultimately development cover. contribution from all parties, contribution from non-parties, of course reach project, and then project is done. This is public or private project, doesn't make a difference, because we procedure is same, procedure is good, project is good, procedure defective, project is defective. So eyes and nose and minds and ears, mouth, all should be open to receive this. Well, I explained about lump sum, and now there are some terms which I am going to cover with, and that is, let us say, what is prime cost sum? Prime cost. Provision of a sum in bill of quantities to cover some item for nominated subcontractor or supplier, together with opportunity for main contractor to add a percentage or a lump sum to cover related works and profits. I repeat, provision of a sum in bills of quantities, which we shortly write in abbreviation BOQ, to cover certain item for nominated subcontractor. And what is nominated subcontractor means? Already there is a person given in contract that this guy shall do this, no other one, pre-selected one. That person or that party or that guy, that's called nominated subcontractor, because responsibility lies on me. I am main contractor, and that responsibility goes to subcontractor for purpose of working, and that is named in contract, or supplier, or whatever that person is, together with opportunity for main contractor to add a percentage. Yes, I can charge because I am responsible for it. I let certain percentage for me, that's my opportunity, or I don't charge, that's up to me. I leave that charge on some other items. So it says for main contractor to add a percentage or a lump sum price to honor, to cover that related works and profits. Once again, I repeat, it was a little complicated, but clear to you. And that's again I am saying provision of a sum in BOQ, a bill of quantities, to cover certain item for nominated subcontractor, supplier, together with opportunity for main contractor to add certain percentages or lump sum price to cover related work and profits. Related work to be done by subcontractors nominated. For that, this definition is prime cost sum. Then it is provisional sum. What is provisional sum? It is a prime cost sum. Means you have no chance to not to do that. That's a part of contract. Then you are responsible, and for that responsibility, you are charging certain fee on that. That's all, certain percentage of sum. Now let's talk about the provisional sum. Provisional sum. You may say a reserve sum or some fund to do a particular item quoted by engineer in bill. Means in bill itself, engineer includes some item and not by contractor, which may or may not be spent wholly or in part. Not necessary that item may be executed, but it exists there, worked out by engineer, but in responsibility for payment to contractor. So once again I read that, let me complete this. No confusion, no mix-up. A reserve sum or fund for doing a particular item quoted by engineer in bill and not by contractor, which may or may not be spent wholly or in part. This amount would be paid to contractor who shall be agreed later. This amount shall be paid to contractor and shall be agreed later with respect to bill rates for works actually carried out. Main contractor is entitled to carry out works included in provisional sum if that work is of general nature. Otherwise, Same shall be carried out by subcontractor to be paid by contractor whose to be paid by main contractor under his own supervision, his contractor supervision. Main contractor has no ground to complain in case whole of work under a provisional sum is taken from him and given to someone else, and all carried out by someone else. This is provisional sum. Let me repeat. A reserve sum and or fixed fund for doing a particular item quoted by engineer in bill of quantity and not by contractor, which may or may not be spent wholly or in part. That amount to be paid to contractor shall be agreed later on with respect to bill rates for works actually carried out. Main contractor is entitled to carry out work included in provisional sum if work is of general nature. Otherwise, same shall be carried out by subcontractor to be paid by main contractor under his supervision or main contractor supervision. Main contractor has no ground to complain in case whole of work under a provisional sum is taken from him and given to others or not at all carried out. Price enhancement on material. Price enhancement on material. What is price and what is enhancement? Do you know? Enhancement means rise. Addition price on agreed price, that's enhancement. And that is more material here I'm talking. It says some contracts include provision of extra payments or reduction of same on account of rising or falling state of material prices. To operate this condition, bidder or tenderer should include a list of current materials prices as on date of bid or tender, in absence of which operation of condition shall be difficult. Once again I read this for you. Some contracts include provision of extra payment or reduction on account of rising or falling state of material prices. To operate this condition, bidder or tenderer should include a list of current material prices as on date of tender or bid, in absence of which operation of condition shall be difficult. Operation of this condition shall be difficult. This means a price is not detailed in each price must be in tender document. Today this is price. Otherwise this clause cannot operate. Variation shall apply to all materials enlisted subject to an excess over specified tolerable variation. Maybe 5 to 10% tolerable, and after that variation is permissible. It is if it is given in a list is included in your bid as a qualification or unqualification, and there is a limit of 5%. If it enhances on the 5 to 10%, any crosses that, this clause may operate. 5 to 10% to be covered under contractor's risk. Now, to check or investigate this claim under this clause, engineer shall be provided exact date of enhancement and details of materials consumed. After that, along with records of payments made to approved material supplier and authenticated receipt of supplier and quotation of supplier on date of receipt of bid by engineer or tender closure day. Difference between new rate and tender rate for quantities purchased and consumed by contractor per statements on site verified by contract quantity engineer or surveyor shall be payable to contractor with due documents and further ratification by engineer's quantity consultant for real consumption of quantity after that date of enhancement. Extra shall be paid only subject to adherence to quality control. Suppose tendered item does not match requirements of specifications, but material brought is costlier, which meets specification, extra shall not be paid. I'll repeat it again, but let me complete this paragraph first. Also, when supplier whose price tenderer quoted is out of business and new source is higher in rate, a marginal extra may be paid based on quotation by a new supplier of date of tender or nothing paid otherwise. Extra may be paid in case government increases prices of material due to budgetary requirements. I will repeat whole paragraph because this is very complicated and you may not understand in technical terms of contracts. Price announcement on materials. This is title. Some contracts include provision of extra payments or reduction on account of rising or falling state of material prices. To operate this clause or condition, bidder or tenderer should include a list of current material prices as on date of bid or tender, in absence of which operation of condition shall be difficult. Variation shall apply to all materials enlisted on contract, subject to an excess over specified tolerable limit, or variation may be 5 to 10% to be covered under contractor's risk. Now to check or examine or investigate that claim under this clause, engineer shall be provided with exact date of announcement and details of materials consumed on project, and after that along with records of payments made to approved material supplier and authenticate the receipt of supplier and also quotation of supplier on date of receipt of tender by engineer or tender closure day. Difference between new rates and tender rates for quantities purchased and consumed by contractor per statements on site verified by contract quantity engineer or surveyor shall be payable to contractor with due discounts and further ratification by engineer's quantity consultant for real consumption of quantity after date of announcement. Extra shall be paid only subject to adherence to quality control. Suppose tendered item does not match requirements of a specification, but material brought is costlier, which meets specifications, extra shall not be paid. Also, when supplier whose price of tender quoted is out of business and now source is higher in rate, a marginal extra may be paid based on quotation by new supplier of date of tender or nothing paid otherwise. Extra may be paid in case government increases prices of material due to budgetary requirements. But there is one condition on top of this, that in case you have a clause in contract, whatever happens, nothing shall be paid extra. If there's a binding on that, then this wouldn't be allowed. It depends on the flexibility of condition. If you are opening in there some conditions, some opening is there, ventilator is there, that this may be accepted. Or it's completely closed, whatever happens, come what may, you have to do this job. This is your risk. Then you have to cover this prior to tendering. You must cover somewhere, whatever percentage enhanced. Or you entirely give up that item please omit this, but it won't be omitted. Then it will be done by risk and cost of your risk and cost, or at risk and cost of contract by some other party. So be careful. This is very complicated. This is not a gift given to you. This depends upon what sort of condition is there in contract. If there's complete lockup, you cannot do anything. If there's some opening is there, some respiration is there, you can take advantage of that. Now, enhancement of wages, which is also flexible condition sometimes and not flexible some other time. Enhancement of wages. Okay. Now, should rise and fall clause of variation applies. If I'm saying should rise and fall clause of variance applies, and applies, in that case, nationwide increase in wages shall be paid to contractor after date of enhancement, subject to contractor's claims, supported by pay sheets or rolls duly signed by work persons. This clause is valid as policy change of government ordering increase, and not when contractor allows increase on his own. Then now come to extras. Extras. Lump sum itemized contract. Then it is bill of quantity contract. Then it's fixation of extra prices. I'm just telling these paragraphs what I've written. I'll explain to you. Then it is unforeseen circumstances. Then it will be loaded price. Then it will be claims. And then it will be claims like delay claims, and then the practical completion. This type of talks I'm going to just to tell you, explain to you, discuss with you before entering into discussion of contract clauses. This is very complicated talk. You have to think on this and you have to listen properly. And if you ignore it, I know that this may not be interest to you, maybe, but those who are interested in this, and this is kind of a resource talk I'm making to you. This is resource. Anytime in your life, whatever day you want, you can review it and understand it. It's for those who have minds. It's not for those who want to see only pictures on Facebook. It's not picture. It's intelligent talk, intellectual talk. It's professional talk. So it's up to you if you are involved in this, or you want just to learn something. And if you don't want to learn something, then better don't waste your time. Lump sum itemized contract. This carries very few chances of extras. Because lump sum itemized it is, and this is lump sum means there's no way you can get something out of that extra. This carries very few chances of extras, as contractor is bound to complete job in contract scope in all respects, as required in drawings and specifications and in other contract documents, including bill of quantities. Variation arises when engineer or owner want or intends to omit or delete or add or alter design, in which case a variation order is to be passed by engineer. Extra shall be applicable on additional work other than specified in contract documents as whole. As whole, just try to understand what I mean to say. As whole, contractor documents as whole, or mutual explanatory or mutually speaking. This means, what are contract documents? First you have to understand that majorly, in prime way. Contract itself. Contract means contract form in which you agree this price is valid for this contract for so many days, and this is. That is contract executed by both parties, means owner and contractor. Contract form. Then what? Contract conditions. Then what? Contract scope of work. Then what? Specifications and drawings. Then what? All drawings, all specifications. Then what? International and national standards. Then what? Bill of quantities. All these are contract documents with certain weightage. Weightage means highest weightage and lowest weightage. As I said, bill of quantities last, lowest weightage. First consideration will be form of contract, what price you are paid, then contract documents list, which defines which one is first considered, project specifications number 1, general specification number 2, specification. This I am telling about specifications. Drawings, all drawings, architectural, structural, services, all drawings, specifications and drawings, and all other documents which are these memos, instructions, others, meetings, etc. Means in a sequence you have to understand that whatever is given in specifications, whatever is given in drawings, these all, whatever given certain international laws, all these must be interlinked while deciding for something. Precedence is there. You have to understand that which is first value, which is second value, which is third value. So starting from contract price to last one, we have to read them together, all together, and find what we have to do. That is called mutual explanatory documents and connection of all these documents. This is first one, so we have to consider this higher, and last one is considered the last, and there's no way out. For this, we have to raise certain times some clarifications to engineer or employer and find out which one is best one or which one is mandatable. This means engineer has to advise. But we cannot separately consider this document. No, if this document says this, so give me this. No, that's not acceptable. Maybe something is missing in specifications but given on drawings. Maybe something is missing in drawings given on specifications. That we have to understand very well. And that's why I'm talking here. So, I say about lump sum. Lump sum, again I read itemized contract, which it says this carries very few chances of extras, as contractor is bound to complete job in contract scope in all respects as required in drawings, in specifications, in other contract documents, including BOQ. Variation arises when engineer or owner intend to omit or delete or add or alter design, in which case a variation order is to be passed by engineer. Extras shall be applicable on additional work or other than specified in contract documents as whole. And this as whole, I told you, all these contract documents which are plus, 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 and plus equal whole. Bill of quantity contract now. This was lump sum itemized, now bill of quantity. Generally you'll find extra items and substitute items in this type of contract bill of quantity, because all items shall be measured as work is done and actual done on site or on area considered, and whatever item not covered in bill of quantity BOQ shall be paid separately on agreed rate. Sometimes engineer or employer want to substitute one item by another so that cost to be paid is also substituted. It may be a serving on a job, it may be a saving on job or additional expenses. Whatever item ordered by engineer other than BOQ shall also be considered an extra item. Sometimes unforeseen conditions, not generally anticipated, compel contractor to extra expenses, which may or may not be compensated depending on contract conditions plus profit and delay, if whatever or if any. All alterations, additions, or omissions from original BOQ should be covered under variation orders for purpose of valuations and accounts. Variation order is only issued by engineer on behalf of owner, and residential engineer has no power for that order. In case contractor has altered specification to superstandard on its own, no variation shall be allowed. All extras should be shown separately, normally as follows: extra bill items and substituted items, day work records, unforeseen conditions claims, enhancement in wages and material prices. I'm not stressing much on this type of contract. Whatever other extra work not included and essential for job should be brought to employer's notice and permission obtained by engineer. Now, fixation of extra price. How to fix that? Fixation of extra price. Bill of quantity prices shall be used in case where work is of similar nature and carried out under similar conditions to work in bill of quantity BOQ. In case engineer feels that price in bill of quantity is unreasonable under ordinary circumstances as in BOQ item, engineer shall fix such price for those circumstances. Engineer may order additional or substituted work to be paid based on day work basis, in which case I am explaining day work again, which I made before also explained also, in which case all details of actual execution or actual carrying out of that activity shall be taken from site through agent. Unit rates for machines engagement, workforce engagement, and all miscellaneous expenses shall be included in calculations based on approved schedule of rates being used in area or authentic area or in authentic way. Then unforeseen circumstances. Unforeseen. Payment towards this claim shall be based on nature of claim made from contractor and applicability in contractor's agreement with employer, and also details of accounts and all calculations exhibiting extras as expenses presented along with claims. This is all that. Now let's go to loaded price. What does loaded price mean? Sometimes items in bill of quantity are so calculated by contractor that profit element stands very excessive than usual, and that price in no way can be used for extra payments, or rate of item itself is too high, That is called loaded price. Then claims. Claims for extra payments presented by contractor. Number one, adverse physical conditions or hindrances or obstructions which could not be reasonably foreseen. Number two, not being in agreement with rates fixed by engineer for additional altered work. Number three, progress of work affected due to delays caused to contractor. Now let's explain, understand what it's all about. These claims, as mentioned, may be presented in engineer's office whatever time after occurrence of claim or event and before contract completion or contract termination of contract, provided notice for intention of claims has been served on engineer by contractor within a period of 1 month, or you may say 28 days, with effect from day of claim occurrence due to unforeseen condition, in absence of which notice or claim, admission of claim after specified period of notice shall not be allowed, and claim discarded. All provisions of general and specific conditions shall be kept operative along with this claim. Engineers should be provided with all facts and estimates presented in claim. Engineers should be provided with all facts and estimates presented to engineer in support of any claim or whatever claim. Contractor should present all records and accounts for inspection by engineer or resident engineer or owner, which shall definitely reveal evidence should contractor has lost amount due to unfair payment or delay cost to contractor. Diaries of resident engineer and inspectors' daily returns shall provide enough assistance to exhibit that work was slowed down due to difficulties and how many work persons were employed, and also how additional expenses were made on plants. Contractors' agents' daily job record shall itself reveal part of facts. Delay claims. This was I explained regarding claims for extra payments, and now delay claim, which is very significant one from contract viewpoint and from disputes viewpoint. Delay. Delay must be real. Number one, delay must be real, and I cannot read like this. Delay must be real, and cause of delay, you may say, cause of delay be outside contractor's liability and outside contractor risk, and cause loss or extra expenditure to contractor which could be made no good elsewhere. Again I read this line. Delay must be real and cause of delay must be outside contract's liability and risk, and whatever loss caused or extra expenditure made by contractor which could be made no good elsewhere. A period duration which a contractor cannot employ work person and machines at their normal intended output according to nature and quantity of work per agreed for program or under whatever rearrangement of program in terms as delay is termed as delay is termed as delay. Do you understand again? Okay. Delay must be real and cause of delay be outside contractor's liability and risk, and whatever loss caused or extra expenditure done by contractor which could be made no good elsewhere, a period during which a contractor cannot employ work persons and machines at their normal intended output according to nature and quantity of work per agreed program or under whatever arrangement of program is termed as delay. Delay can affect a part or whole of work. Part or whole work. It can be partial or it can be full. Say, consequent upon engineer's instruction, a machine is stopped, and say it has to wait for alternative instruction. Until then, instructions come. Until that time instructions come, no alternative operation is available for machine. Therefore, stoppage shall amount to delay and idling of machine. I am saying idling of machine when machine is not working. Similarly, when work to be done by other contractor under another contract does not clear work area of contract in question in time and work of contract is obstructed or hindered or start is not allowed, a delay shall be counted for that part of contract area. I repeat this. Similarly, when work is to be done by other contractors under another contract does not clear work area of this contract in time and work of this contract is hindered or not allowed to be started, a delay shall be counted for that part of contract area. An extension of time is not necessary a delay claim. An extension of time application is not necessary a delay claim, as it could be caused due to additional works and rates permitted for those items in contract variations include all overheads. Similarly, cost of unforeseen conditions or enhancements are paid under separate heads. Claims for delays can be raised when, let's go to discuss. Long on this is, it's a little difficult discussion. You concentrate what I'm talking about. Let us say, what is delay claim? When we can do it? One contractor delays another one. Of course, it's not your fault. Work is delayed due to alterations of design and cost, if whatever involved. Right? Design is changed. Claims made due to misrepresentation are admissible. Should contractor raise matter immediately it is discovered, and not after work is done or carried out. Then we say claims raised, number 4 is claims raised for plants remaining idle. Plants means machines. Claims raised for plants or machine plants remaining idle due to order of stop work by engineer for alterations in designs cannot be admitted should cost of same has been included in variation order passed. What it says, claims raised for plants remaining idle due to order of stop work by engineer for alterations in designs cannot be admitted should cost of same has been included in variation order already passed. You cannot claim double. Alright. Number 5, claims for loss of profit due to extended time barring contractor to deploy staff for organization of new work supported to commence after completion date of this contract shall not be admitted as far as this contract is concerned, but contractor may claim damages on this account. 6. Claims for whatever material lost, claims for whatever material lost by engineer's instruction due to change in design is admissible if not included in variation order for that instruction. Again I say number 6, claims for whatever material lost by engineer's instruction due to change in design is admissible if not included in variation order for that instruction. Number 7, claims for inclement weather conditions are not admissible since contractor is supposed to be acquainted with meteorological records of included area or area where project is ongoing per construction contract clause. 8. Claims for natural causes generally never occur but during contract unfortunately occur, causing losses to contractor shall be claimed on insurance agency if insurance agency to exist. 9. Claims for whatever loss caused to contractor and circumstance is not under employer's liability shall go to insurance agency or government agency whatsoever applicable. Now these detailed points shall be read in conjunction to delay and claims clauses forming part of specific conditions and general conditions of contract. This is what about delays. There can be more, but these are general. Then now I'm talking of practical completion. Practical completion. That's what I say. One should not act like child in claims. As I said before also, there is rain, you run, goes my claim, I could not work. There's thunderstorm, I could not work. There is some strike, I could not work. You can sometimes write this type of senseless statements, this type of senseless you can say submission to engineer to consider claims. But you do not understand what is given in contract. When you are working in senior position in contract, you have to learn everything of that contract. And even if you are not in senior position, you must understand. You must learn that. You must request your senior to let you allow reading contract, or ask questions to your seniors. What is this and what is that? Otherwise, you cannot learn anything. Or you have interest, you read yourself somewhere, because this shall add to your knowledge, this shall add to your professionalism. That's what's required. Today's rain, I'm writing my one day's loss to restore my room. You have to make sure for last 5 decades what has been weather condition. If you do not know, how can you call yourself a contractor? Contractor is not simple contractor. This is a professional contractor who knows all ins and outs of construction activities as well as areas where work is done. So it's a brilliant work. It's not simple. A contractor, no value at all. What value? You have to deliver work and engineer has to accept work. That's value. Nothing else. All right. Practical completion. You have to be a little realistic. When all disciplines operations of a building or buildings and other works included on contract scope are completed and approved, contractor has to notify engineer or resident engineer or owner for inspection and takeover. Resident engineer shall inspect all disciplines and elements room by room and mark clearance or no clearance in that snagging list or punch list, along with comments made therein for attendance of contractor. All inspections are carried out and snagging list is given to contractor to carry out remedial works and let resident engineer know for inspection or be requested for inspection. Similarly, all inspection chambers, manholes, etc. are inspected and reported, and report is filled in standard format on standard format. Having done all that, having done all remedial works, a final inspection should be carried out for practical completion. Up to this, an exercise may be called pre-commissioning. It's up to employer to take over all buildings at one time or one by one, subject to obtaining occupation certificate from statutory authorities. In later case, practical completion shall come into effect or in force when building is taken over. Even date of completion may be far away for contract as whole for considerations of maintenance period. Every contract includes a maintenance period in specifications or in contract conditions for which contract amounts include cost to be paid to contractors for protection and maintenance. Final completion shall be granted only by engineer when period of maintenance has been over and no defects appear in works maintained. After completion of works practically, retention of contractor security money amount shall be released only after that, subject to submissions of long-term guarantees or warranties, items carrying terms more than maintenance period. These items may include spot surfacing for coats, waterproofing torches for roof or waterproofing system, or glaze curtain walling, and all other specific items of different disciplines or is maybe or structural stability warranty. Now, what actually I told about practical completion? Practical completion is called on building projects, ordinary building projects, as well as this is also called mechanical completion in oil or facilities mega projects. This completion is a declaration that contract involved work or scope of work expressed in details on contract has been physically completed and building can be used This is called a stage of practical completion. And when inspection is done before that, each room by room, wall by wall, just to know where there are lapses, where are defects, there are snags, or where punches, that stage is generally called pre-commissioning. And during this physical completion period, before that, there's a period of 2 months or 1 month, depending on contract, which requires testing of all services or materials, if so. And that's testing and commissioning is final one, because during construction itself, the fixed one was done. That is also include the part of fixed one testing. Then fixed two was done, also involved testing at fixed two. And this is now final, so final testing is done. So this in general terms is called testing and commissioning. And before this, it's called pre-commissioning. So physical completion means total physical work plus testing plus pre-commissioning and then testing and commissioning. And when it is done successfully, we can say that building is complete practically. And after that, you have to wait for maintenance period, which can be described 400 days or whatever number of years or number of months it is. And you work out during that period on all defects, remedial measures, and successful maintenance of that area of building done for whole period of maintenance. Then final inspection is done, and if nothing is pointed out, you can say final completion can be granted. Nevertheless, warranties prevail: waterproofing system warranty, structural stability warranty, and many warranties for other items: life of aluminum doors, windows, curtain wallings, and like that, mesh certain equipment you fixed, HVAC equipments, other, whatever warranty that crosses that period of maintenance and whatever number of years available after date of completion, final completion, still prevail. So this is what is final completion. Final completion is that one. And when there is municipal law applies or something applies, when you get your practical completion, you can apply to that body, means owner can apply to body, not you. Owner of that building that give me completion through engineer or through architect, that owner would apply, and department shall issue occupancy certificate. That is for law, that is for statute. But for contract, final completion is final, plus warranties, of course, that do remain in force until these are exhausted. So there are so many terms. Now I'm going to tell you philosophy of contract. Actually, contract is something else. What philosophy is, I'm going to discuss with you. Philosophy, if you understand basics of contracts, I'm not going to tell you critic in this case. I'm going just what I think about contract as a person, as an engineer, as an experienced person, what I understand, what are responsibilities, obligations of various parties. If you understand that, then you can grasp very well this FIDIC or design and build or construction or EPC or claims, all that, and you can then grow up your mind into that world, because ultimately one time or other during your life you have to deal with them, and if you can understand them well, you can deal with them successfully. And if you cannot understand them successfully, you cannot deal with them, you will fail. You cannot rise to a command status, you shall remain on a lower status of execution or of site engineer level, or that level where you cannot say that you are very responsible, just you are an engineer or not an engineer who has no authority to command, but you want to rise to level of, you can say, lead person or responsible person who owns responsibility of contracts and others. or you want to be a contracts manager or general manager or a project manager, you have to know what contracts are, what do contracts mean. That is what was sole purpose of this publication. But unfortunately, people are not interested in that. I have seen people are interested only in designs. If someone is interested in designs, if someone is interested in construction, only interested in construction, and someone is interested in safety, only interested in safety. Means they specialize themselves on a part of project, not full project. And if you want to take responsibility of full project, means you have to be involved with all disciplines. Throughout your life, you have to learn like this, or else you are only small in a bit like a rat. I am safety, don't talk to me quality. I am quality, don't talk to me concern. I am concerned, don't talk to me quality. I am designer, don't talk about site. That does not work in 2020 and onwards. It doesn't mean anything. You want to remain team member or you want to lead team? You are happy to remain a team member, that is your choice. And so I want to command team, I want to lead team, and not only one team, many teams. That is where your profession exists. Right? So let's go to understanding philosophy. Civil engineering project management. Civil engineering project management, definitions of parties involved on building projects. I am saying building projects, but it doesn't mean only the buildings. Civil engineering project management. All right. So promoter, engineer, contractor, typical definitions and all that. So I'll go to this chapter. Promoter, user, buyer, promoter, user, buyer, government bodies, owner. So many titles. Meaning is same. Individual person, proprietor, group, financier, etc. Who desires to invest in funds or money for certain civil engineering project for certain definite purpose, for definite profitable business, or for personal use, or for use for a certain part of community or society, or for commerce, etc. Whatever case be, and undertakes to take complete responsibility of finances and consequences on same. Promoter appoints engineer for project to design and supervise execution and design to be in accordance with prescribed requirements and needs specific to meet target within a specified budget and defined time. Promoter also appoints contractors for purpose of construction execution of scheme based on recommendation of engineer for project in both contracts. Once again, I explain to this to complete title again so that you don't confuse. This is civil engineering project management, definitions of parties involved on building projects. This is what I'm trying to elaborate so that you can understand thoroughly what I mean to say. I again read again, promoter or user or buyer or government bodies or owner. Individual person, proprietor, group, financer, or whoever who desires to invest funds or monies for certain civil engineering project for definite purpose, for a definite profitable business, or for personal use, or for use for certain part of community or society, or for commerce, or whatever public work or private work, etc. Whatever case be, and whoever undertakes to take complete responsibility of financing and consequences on same. Promoter appoints engineer for project to design. This engineer is title. This doesn't mean you should be or architect, whatever is that, whoever is the responsible person. Promoter appoints engineer for project to design and supervise execution and design to be in accordance with prescribed requirements and needs specific to meet target within specified budget and defined time. Promoter when I say owner, promoter also appoints contractors for purpose of construction execution of scheme based on recommendations of engineer for project. In both contracts, that is management contract between promoter and engineer, and next is construction contract between promoter and execution contractor. Promoter stands party 1, while engineer and contractor for execution as party 2 in respective contracts. Promoter owns responsibility and liability of all money payments for services rendered by two parties on job. In contract with construction contractors, promoter shall be statutory termed as employer of execution contractor, and contract with project engineer termed as client of engineer. Now, what is engineer for project? I explained to you just about what is promoter or owner. Now, engineer for project. Immediately after being approved, engineer in all professional respects for scheme or project. Individual professional in engineering group or agency, whatever, comes into effect to legally enjoy status or designated engineer for project. That is, to own complete technical and engineering obligations and professional responsibilities for complete designs and supervisions over construction execution, which resembles status of engineer in chief or chief engineer in lieu of that in government or equivalent sector. And promoter and engineer are bound on management contract, and payments are made accordingly to engineer by promoter for engineering services rendered or provided or to be provided by engineer to promoter for this project or whatever project. Since payment on contract is made in a fixed accepted percentage of cost, engineer owns complete liability of adverse consequences of engineering design, failure of works, services, and shall have to face prosecution and bear all damages caused to promoter. Engineer shall enjoy complete administrative control on job or of job engineering from inception to completion and management. And if it is not percentage fee basis, it is different. In that case, you may say that employer or owner employs engineer as a staff and paid by salaries. When responsibility of liability or consequences to be faced by engineer is only to an extent that that person is removed from job. That is understanding. Now come on to execution contractor, contract construction contractors. What is philosophy behind that? I'm talking of philosophies. Again, I'm saying I'm not talking of contract contents. This is not contract contents. This is just what is philosophy behind. Immediately after being issued with award letter by promoter, bidder or tender enjoys designation of construction contractor and would be bound to carry out all project works for promoter based and specified per engineer's details and instructions and put forward all claims of works to promoter. Now only for information, certain contents of our offer as engineer to propose township, will leave that one now. No use of that story. Come on to title is nature of professional services to be rendered by engineer to promoter. What are that? What's that? Let us say to conceive, then incept development or develop. Conceive means imagination, then develop that imagination. Design after that. This is complete engineering details, that is architectural, planning and detailing, structural designing and detailing, all building allied internal and external services, schematic, structural network, and quantity engineering, prepare submission, drawings to obtain building statutory permits from concerned relevant statutory authorities or departments, drawing, drafting tenders for construction contracts, administer, manage, and supervise as consulting group or consultants all construction operations at project site in national capital region or whatever. I just written because that time I was dealing with the and operate terms and conditions of construction, contracts execution till completion with commissioning of all jobs as included, per project details, estimated cost of which at current market rates, fiscal year whatever would be whatever. This is basic philosophy if engineer is full-fledged one, fully authorized for complete operations for complete project. Now, to guide line breakup of engineer's responsibilities included or intended to be included in scope of this contract. Let us say number one, this number is only for reference, schematic layout plans of different residential, commercial, and all other components of proposed township, let us say satellite township. Actually this was considered in 90s and 85 is master plan of Delhi. So I just talked of that. There's nothing to relate in this, but just for consideration. So schematic layout plan of different residential, commercial, and all other components of proposed satellite township project. And number two, schematic architectural plans, layouts of all buildings and relevant structures. Let us see, next one is three, the architectural and structural developments and projections of complete formation mechanisms of all buildings related to project. And next is four, preparation of contract forms and contract legal documents. And number five, preparation of guide to management for civil engineering project administration and control based on Whatever institution is there you believe in. At that time I wrote UK's Institution of Civil Engineers guidelines, or it can be something else, doesn't matter. Now that guidelines have been changed to new bill, new contract management. It doesn't matter. You can follow whatever you want to follow, FIDIC, or you follow something, or you design your own. Doesn't make a difference as far as it works. Then next is 6, preparation of application petition to obtaining of no objection certificate to be moved by promoter on competent authorities of lands control administration of state government, comprising all technical layout sizes of lands requirements, schedule, and other features necessary for that which are technical. And then site survey supervision and soil investigation interactions post land acquisition. Let me read that again. Next is 7 is site survey supervision and soil investigation interactions post land acquisition, because number 6 was land acquisition. In fact, again I read number 6, preparation of application petitions to obtaining of a no objection certificate to be moved by promoter on competent authorities of lands control administration of state government, comprising all technical layout sizes of lands requirement, schedule, and other feature necessary for that. And this is all technical documentation which is required for purpose of government of the whatever state to acquire that land according to Land Acquisition Act, because you need that land for this project. You cannot have that much land if it's a township or something else, and that's the only reason that you have to submit the decision to that one, so that you can get that land with change of land use, because generally agricultural lands are required and there's a come to land use of township or someone, and for that you pay to them. According to law, it is public project. It's not private project, and public, or you can say public important projects always need support of law, and these law do exist. Then so I said, then we'll follow 7 as a site survey of supervision and soil investigation which you have to do. The number 8 is schematic plans of layouts. It's schematic plans of layouts, review and adjustments, settings, modeling, making, supervision, and submission of layouts for approval. That's technical services only. So this is also a very detailed one. And if you go next is number 9, schematic structural plans of all buildings or structural layouts, arrangements or general arrangements. Then number 10 is architectural development plans, elevations, settings, sections, and other details. 11 is structural development plans and other structural details. Then 12 architectural and structural working details. And 13 is complete allied services schematic details. Then next is 14 is foundation designs and details. And then 15 is submission of drawings for building permit. That's technical services only. Whereas technical services, payment for other services shall be made by owner. That is meaning here, because I am writing at various locations. For example, I wrote technical services only when there's application for land acquisition made to government, so payment of whatever is spent there, it's the duty of owner. And similarly, in schematic planning and modeling is paid by owner as agreed. So that's why I'm saying technical services. So here also submission of drawings for building permit, which is technical services. Other services payment, for example, how much money is to be paid based on covered area, that is to be paid by, what you can say, based on FAR, based to be paid by employer. FAR means floor area ratio, and in some states some different conditions, names doesn't matter. Then there's a 16, the quantity engineering details for tendering purpose. And then 17 is project site work supervision and control of administration over construction execution or prosecution. Then 18 is post practical completion maintenance supervision for 400 days or whatever number agreed or not agreed. It's up to owner. And then there is 19 is preparation of preliminary schematic reports, chapters on project reports, representation in related meetings for financial technical support to promoter in national capital or wherever it is, and all that. These are brief one, these are not detailed one, just a titular explanation about what is done, what's not done. But it may vary depending upon current development. This titler one covers all the disciplines, and this is actually required, and this is not one-man job, you be very clear. We say, but when project is big one, means there are so many components are involved, so many buildings are involved. You cannot work alone. Means for a small flat or a small bungalow, you can say, okay, I'll take responsibility, I'm architect, I can take responsibility. Or the typical drawings, they just copy and paste, they don't design. Even I've seen, though it's duty of engineer or architect to do detail work for every building because he's getting payment, but they just do in same way. Oh, I can do just by hand, I can do all that. Well, that's not my purpose here to criticize someone. It happens. Job is job. It may be one room or it may be one city, whatever. Job is job. It's not because you are getting money, it's because your duty it is. If you are trapped tomorrow, they will not ask you how much money did you charge. They will simply ask you, did you do that? That's all. Then let's go to engineers' exclusive rights. Again, I'm talking philosophy. I'm not talking here contract. I'm talking basis of contract. Means we have to think about why this law is required. We think of that, right? Why we think law is required? Why do you think constitution, for example, is required? Why do you think this is required? That is required because there is a basic need of that. That basic need is philosophy. Just like feed is there in designs, FEED, that is philosophy. And what is that? Front-end engineering design. And that is before design is done. What actually you want to design, what's the purpose of our design, we have to define our setup philosophy, and that's called fit. Similarly, you have to define what is your purpose, what is your job. When job is not described, you have to define first job, what you have to do. And that's scope of your job, and that's what I'm talking about, scope of your work, scope of contractor work, scope of owner's work. We have to decide first. We have to do this, we have to do this, we have to do. After we will write contracts, we will write to cover up all that. That is called analytical study. Just like feasible study is done for whatever new project, green project. Similarly, we have to study, we have to analyze these problems and then synthesize them to cover up solution. Well, engineers' exclusive rights. Now I'm writing certain rights. It was only for certain work that was written. I'll not name the company. As a group, consultants reserve copyright of all drawings and related documents prepared by group, and same cannot be used in whatever manner or any manner by any person or firm under or his or their seal for this or any other project without obtaining written permission from engineer technocrat group. Duration of this title, this set title, professional responsibility shall be termed for 8 calendar years or whatever duration of the contract project is. I just that was some contract for 8 years, so I wrote 8, but it is blank, you can say. From day of formal appointment of firm group as engineer, probability of any practical extension shall be dealt accordingly or separately. Now, term engineer as applied per international codes of professional practice. That time I involved British also, but usually international now. Term engineer applied according to international codes of professional practice and competency for civil engineering project management. Contracts shall apply to this contract as well for foregoing professional title, services, responsibilities in all related communications for an on-job contract and for all legal implications and implications. Now, let us say briefly what is terms and contract to govern this contract. This is not contract, I am telling you, just guideline. Engineer shall counsel, engineer shall counsel all professional services as defined under title of this contract on behalf of promoter or first party to this contract, and also covered and authenticated under civil and architectural codes of practice and institutions, code of conducts, and also statutory regulations and requirements. Follow up Follow up for obtaining land use approval in name of promoter, and all monies to be paid towards operation of proceedings, processing of layouts, approvals, and all monies to be paid towards this operation, proceedings, and fee and other expenses to be paid for building permit shall be borne by promoter, which is first party, but technical services shall be done by engineer as included in scope of duties of engineer. Then cost for land surveys, soil investigation and exploration, and all other tests to be carried out before designs of project shall be borne by promoter, which is party 1. This contract shall be operated on guidelines laid down by whatever institution you agree. At that time, I wrote Institution of Civil Engineers, London, UK specifications for construction execution. They have also changed it. It's now NAPE contracts actually. If you read that civil engineering document from Institution of Civil Engineers, you will find now NAPE contracts, but it doesn't make a difference very well. For construction execution contracts in lump sum, contract forms based on itemized bills of quantities for individual buildings and related structures and all other allied infrastructural openings and utilities as included in planning of project. And tender shall be floated by engineer in different phases. Actually, I'm saying by engineer, actually it is floated by honor, but engineer is supported that, but let us assume this way. Tender shall be floated by engineer on behalf of employer in different phases as agreed by first party and scrutinized after being closed. First party's employer shall award construction contract only after having been recommended by engineer formally. Monthly running payments to construction contractors for valuations of works executed or done by them shall be released only after issue of payment recommendations certificate by engineer to first party. Facilities for engineer and its site staff offices shall be provided by construction contractors as included on related bills of contract quantity. Complete tender or bid and contract documents shall be prepared by engineer on behalf of first party promoter for job. Second party engineer shall charge a professional service fee of whatever percentages on total cost of project from conceive stage to completion stage and release structure for that shall be as given below. It is indicative only, not necessary. It's up to you. You are just giving for information. Some architect told me like this, something. Architects generally do that. 25% at time of appointing group as engineer based on estimated project, and second one is 25% at time of scheme layout submission for approval from competent authorities, also based on project estimated cost. Then 25% at time of issuing tenders to interested parties, also based on project estimated cost. And then remaining amount of fee shall be distributed proportionately to progress of execution of project on site, and fixed sum be released at fixed interval of 3 months and shall also based on real expense on project. So these are all different. Just for information is what should be considered. A first party promoter shall release structural payments immediately after notified or notice being served by engineer on second party, and term as included immediately shall mean maximum time of 7 calendar days of issue of notice by second party on promoter or first party's desk. In case of delayed payments by first party to construction contractors of engineer or either of them, construction contractor to be appointed later, post completion of tendering process, all consequential damages shall be borne by first party, that is promoter. Should project or job duration be elongated or extended by first party due to any or due to whatever first party's constraints, proportional extra cost as complementary or compensatory fee for extended length of time shall be paid by first party to second party, that is engineer. Engineer shall act as an independent judge for this title job to dispose technocratic responsibilities to best and optimum benefits of job, keeping in view prospective interests of first party promoter simultaneously treating construction execution contracts fairly and professionally. Legal disputes, as often arise on construction execution contracts, shall be reserved to be covered under a clause in construction contracts referring these disputes to an independent arbitrator to be mutually appointed by first party and relevant construction contractors according to provisions made within Indian Arbitration Act in force or some other country's act in force for construction contracts in field of civil engineering projects in case parties in disputes do not accept engineer's judgment. First party promoter may deal in person with engineer or may delegate whatever first party's authorized attorney, representative, agent or director, etc. And to this effect, an authorization shall be issued by first party promoter to engineer, clearly defining powers invested with agent or representative or attorney and absent definitions of invested powers shall be construed as authorized agent enjoys complete powers to deal with engineer in all project and professional respects. But promoter shall reserve exclusive right to replace, add, change, terminate, promote, etc. for dealings with engineer, but prompt advice shall be made available to engineer in form of confirmatory communication so that unnecessary delays are not caused to project progress decisions making. In case of engineer's assessment of promoter's agent to be unmatching to required professional standards to interact with engineer in relevant discussions and decisions making process. Promoter shall accept engineer's recommendation for replenishment of deficit characteristics by either adding a subsidiary agent or also by substituting, depending exclusively on wish of promoter's management. Nevertheless, engineer shall take decisions in all matters subject to professional permissibility degrees and standards, it would be preferable should a competent technocrat or engineer be deployed for that purpose. Engineer undertakes Engineer undertakes to assist in providing all services to first party, that is promoter, utilizing all skills acquired by members or partners of engineer during their working, experiencing, being tutorialed, trained overseas for a couple of years on building architectural engineering disciplines among various nationalities on European contracts and technologies to properly utilize and apply to Indian state conditions or otherwise experience based in this country, India, Bharat. No material shall be permitted to be installed for permanent inclusions without prior material approval to be obtained by contractors or suppliers from engineer and first party promoter, and same condition clause shall also apply to detailing works of technicalities to be run in all disciplines. All shop working drawings shall be produced by construction contractor and submitted to engineer for approval, and then meetings, monthly coordination and technical meetings as well as monthly progress meeting, monitoring meetings and review meetings shall be conducted and chaired by engineer or resident engineer contract wise during construction contracts duration of erection work, and first party be advised accordingly for schedules. First party shall enjoy privilege to attend all such meetings, for which minutes of meeting shall be circulated regularly. Engineer shall attend promoter's project board meeting in level as engineer member for that project. Engineer shall make use of Indian standards codes of practice where engineer deem fit in interest of job, and to make savings to first party with strict compliance, not to obviate standards. Engineer shall keep first party promoter regularly informed and advised of budgetary controls and alterations as required from time to time. Additions or alterations outside title scope of this job shall be considered only after prior written approval of first party promoter. Engineer shall reserve right to advise recommendations or rejections of whatever contractor or supplier on ground of poor performance or track record or professional gross misconduct or meetings or not meeting standards as required of construction contractor or supplier, as case would be. In case promoter does not honor engineer's recommendations, then engineer shall be relieved of all adverse results and consequences by applications of aberrations of engineer's recommendations on job, and a permanent record shall be referred on project diary for future investigation, references for inquiry commissions if constituted anyone. First party promoter may advise, suggest to engineer of bona fide intentions, but engineer shall not be bound to apply same on obligations of duties as engineer. On vice versa, engineer enjoys reserve right and privileges to advise promoter, recommended, suggest to promoter on whatever professional matter according to professional requirements and standards of practice in international sphere of civil engineering, disciplines, projects executions and designs. In case first party promoter does not accept recommendations, etc., received by from engineer as a part of engineer's obligation per contract and promoter goes unrecommended ways, engineer shall not be bound to any liability as a consequence of whatever inclement results and adverse gains of that on contract job. Projects shall be administered based on engineer's written guide to contract management forming copyright of engineer and legal competency of project shall fall under jurisdiction of whatever area, courts, etc. on job contract. And this is signed by both promoter and engineer. Now, let us just go to civil engineering contract, which are generals in that. This is general conditions means this is also philosophy I'm telling you. I'm not going through FIDIC or something. I'm not copying that one. That's not necessary. We'll talk of FIDIC later on. This is just general conditions of contract for construction, which are basically you can say formula. Now it says, for example, it says general conditions and it's a scope, project management, guide, definitions, liabilities, then responsibilities, powers, and insurance, legal binding, etc. So I'll just brief it out. Okay. General conditions of contract for construction. Now, what says the scope? These conditions are incorporated for applicability and legal implications to civil and architectural engineering construction contracts existing between employer party 1, that's employing party, owner, promoter, user, government department, etc., and constructing party, the contractor, this contractor appointed for job of construction according to scope of contract by employer based on written offer the standard in category of any of construction contracts types as defined in project management guide for execution and consulting engineers forming part of contract documents. Now, project management guide, what is that actually? A book or document forming part of contract documents detailing complete guidance of various parties involved to execute job from engineer's desk to issue of final completion of contract. Project shall be operated in framework of that guide. Now let's see some definitions. Owner, contractor and engineer. Owner, employer of first party. Party appointing construction party based on acceptance of tender in whatever category of contracts and promising making payments in lieu of works carried out by constructing party shall be called first party or employer or owner or user. Contractor, second party, party whose written offer has been accepted by employer, first party, for construction of a job defined in tender documents for tendered amount, rate, cost, total sum, or some other negotiated amount as agreed by first party to contract conditions and documents in a fixed period of completion time shall be called second party contractor for job. Engineer. Person, group, firm is appointed by first party to this contract for undertaking complete scheme project from conceived stage to final completion shall be called engineer for this project. Engineer shall be an independent person party to this contract. That is in construction contract because engineer is not party in construction contract. Liabilities, now I'll discuss liabilities. Contractor, what contractor is liable for? Contractor shall take over site from engineer, resident engineer on date of site handover to contractor, date of contract commencement, and shall commence mobilization work followed by contract scope per contract documents as agreed between owner and contractor. Contractor shall complete all elements of various disciplines as defined and detailed according to all tender contract documents and per specific contract conditions or letter of explanations. Contractor shall hand over to employer or first party completed works in all respects at time of practical completion for employer's use. Contractor shall protect and maintain all works during maintenance period as defined in specific conditions, letter of explanations, till final completion of all works is certified by engineer. Contractor shall be liable for expenses to be incurred on works, work persons, materials, machines, and all other contingencies and overheads as specifically detailed in specific conditions or letter of explanations. Contractor shall be liable for all execution responsibilities, liabilities, and safety of all during construction. Contractor shall be liable to execution of works to all satisfaction of engineer, and honor in an overall considerations and adhere to contract documents as agreed by him before signing this contract. This is general liability. Then honor. Honor's first party user shall be liable for making all payments for approved valuations of contractor's work in a reasonable time, which may be 30 to 90 days maximum of date of valuation certificate to contractor's account. Owner shall be liable for making all payments for extras as approved and variations orders issued by engineer and forms part of valuations. Owner shall be liable to grant extension of time to contract completion duration as recommended by engineer based on contractor's claims. Owner shall be liable to face arbitration in case of disputes remaining unresolved between owner and contractor and be liable to make payments as awarded by arbitrator and decreed by High Court per Arbitration Act. Decreed by High Court, the old formula, now it's not required because arbitration award itself is an order of court according to Arbitration Act 1996. There is no necessity of going to court. Pre-96 required necessity to go to High Court to convert arbitration award into court decree. But now it's not required because arbitration award according to our act and according to international provisions itself constitutes decree equivalent to court and can directly be implemented, executed you can say. Engineer. Engineer shall be liable to arrange for complete supervision of job, administer contract, provide all informations requested and required by contractor till works are completed. Engineer shall be liable for presenting completed contract to employer, first party according to specific conditions of contract or letter of explanations, and all liabilities per management contract existing between owner and engineer. Engineer shall be sole responsible for design part of job. Now, till now we discussed liabilities. Now let's say responsibilities, because responsibility means something. Contractor responsible for complete execution of job according to contract conditions and documents in a fixed time based on approved program, on direction and administrative control of contract of construction and supervision by engineer, owner. It's both honor, responsibility. Pay to contractor in time for works executed by contractor per contract documents. When till contract is completed, there should be no default in such payments. And engineers to direct, administer, contract and supervising all operations on contract site per contract documents and approve or reject works. It's added that design has been done by engineer and therefore 100% responsibility for that part goes to engineer till engineer on supervision, and design is same person or same firm. Sometimes engineer responsible for supervision is different, who shall be having same responsibility as engineer vested with complete responsibility of contract administration, contract operation, control and site operations of supervision, etc. Now powers. Contractors. Contractor shall have power to take oversight of contract scope from engineer having entered into contract with employer or owner. Contractor shall have power to request engineer to issue all contract documents and all related details of site. Contractor shall have power to obtain record drawings from statutory bodies on authorization given by engineer. Contractor shall have power to commence and complete works. Contractor shall have power to obtain clearance of contract site for commencement of related information operations. Contractor shall have power to serve notices on engineer and owner in case control of contract is not feasible and justifiable. Contractor shall have power to carry out job and let same be approved by engineer or representative, failing which contractor shall continue job. Contractor shall have power to get payments of works done by it by proposing monthly valuations or as agreed. Contractor shall have powers to use allocated areas of site allocated to it by for purposes of contract operations and shall reserve rights to secure site with prior approval of engineer for system. Contractor shall have power to refer unresolved disputes to arbitration. Arbitrator appointed by mutual consent of both contract parties in case decision given by engineer is not acceptable to them. For that, a notice shall be served by contractor on engineer and owner not later than 1 month of day of dispute arises. I have written 1 month, but actually it is 28 days in international terms. Contractor shall have powers over organizational staff levels and of subcontractors and appointing whatever employee for job. Contractor shall have powers as vested on it by virtue of specific conditions of contract or letter of explanations and included in management guideline only. Contractor shall have all powers to raise claims according to contract conditions. Contractor shall have all powers to hand over completed site works to owner, employer, and obtain completion finally for retention money release. Then come to owner. Owner shall have powers to get works awarded to contractor, done according to contract documents and supervised by engineer of owner's choice. Owner shall have power to enter site any number of times during site being on. Owner shall have power to add, delete, or omit whatever item to contract. Owner shall have power to change design of works in parts or in full to new needs. Owner shall have power to hold, stop payments on engineers' recommendations. Owner shall have power to impose whatever penalty on contractors according to provisions made within contract specific conditions. Letters of explanation should works are not completed and handed over in time without grant of extension of delayed period and may claim any or whatever other damages on that account if provided specifically. Owner shall have power to terminate contract or rescind or suspend contract and employ another agency to carry out remaining portion of contract on risk and cost of contractor in case of major defaults on part of contractor in carrying out contract works quantitatively or qualitatively as also provided in specific conditions of contract or letter of explanations. Engineer. Since engineer shall be fully responsible to designs, administer and supervise scheme or project as whole, has powers virtually conferred on it regarding issuing directive instructions, post-contract technical working details, supervision on operational fronts, directions as whole, control of costs, recommend release of payment of works done by contractor, all as all as included in management contract existing between engineer and owner, user, contractor, employer till construction contract is given a completion certificate finally by engineer and all as covered under specific conditions of contract letters of explanation. Then insurance. Insurance, third party insurance of all employees working on contract shall be made or done or provided by contractor as also included in specific conditions of contract or letter of explanations. Engineer shall insure all his employees for same coverage and protection. Contractor shall also get insured all operations done or to be done on site if permissible under regulations and existing insurance rules. Legal binding. Legal binding. Construction contract as exists between employer, owner, user as party to contract in capacity of first party and construction contractor in capacity of second party to contract shall be legalized, bounded according to procedures and laws in force in area of work. Contract shall be based on written offer by second party contractor and not without that and whatever amendments made by both parties during negotiations or as a qualifying condition shall be agreed before contract agreement being signed or entered in legally as without Written acceptance of amendments by owner, contract shall not be treated valid and not form part of contract and contract document as aforesaid as following as far as legalities and implications of contracts laws are concerned. Then now I'll go to something better than this, and that is specific conditions of construction contracts. Specific conditions of construction contracts or extension or explanations of general conditions communicating intentions of owner, employer, and engineer at time of signing construction contract and for considerations of legal implications and implications and legal meaning to and for applicability of law in continuation of general conditions of civil engineering contract. Again, I introduce a complicated one. Specific conditions or construction contract or extensions or explanations of general conditions communicating intentions of owner, employer, and engineer at time of signing construction contract and for considerations of legal implications and implications and legal meaning to and for applicability of law in continuation of general conditions of civil engineering contract. And this is indexed as this. I'll just speak index and then I will discuss later on, not today, because this is contractual format. My own, not FIDIC. We'll do FIDIC later. This is clause number and description of clause, condition, title, subtitles. 1. Scope of work. 2. First party. 3 is second party. 4 is engineer. 5 is site conditions. 6 is handing over site. 7 is mobilization. 8 is program. 9 is contractor superintendents. 10 is subcontractors. 11 is subcontractors. 12 is material submittals. 13 is shop working drawings. 14 is material. 15 is samples. 16 is material delivery. 17 is alternative proposals. 18 is watch and ward on site. 19 is site arrangements. 20 is site diary. 21 is right to site. 22 is contract documents. 23 is contract documents on site. 24 is copyright and secrecy. 25 is statutory regulations. 26 is way leave forms. 27 is manpower workforce. 28 is third party insurance. 29 is accident benefits compensations. 30 is safety on site. 31 is accidents. 32 is non-payment complaints. 33 is working hours, 34 is refreshments, 35 is bribe, 36 is progress, 37 is inspections, 38 not obtained approval, 39 is dispute, 40 is method statements, 41 is instructions, 42 is material list, 43 is valuations, 44 is variations, 45 is claims for extra, 46 is contractors records, 47 is delayed payments, 48 is rules and deductions, rates and deductions, 49 is extras, 50 is other extras over contract, 51 is deletions, 52 is quality and quantity, 53 is tests, 54 is contractors dues, 55 is holidays, 56 is weather, climate, 57 is unforeseen, 58 is claims for extension of time, 59 is penalty, 60 is contract signing, termination, and 61 is contract competency and arbitration. Then 62 is license of contract, 63 is stop work, 64 is disciplinary action, 65 is employer contractor relations, 66 is as built record drawings, 67 is testing and commissioning, 68 is contractors internal coordination, 69 is guide to site management, and 70 is maintenance. This is one part, and then there will be this explanations which will take up. Then after that we'll go up how to start a new site and then certain tools, etc. This I will take up next time because contract is very boring actually. If you are not concentrating on that, if you don't concentrate, it's nothing for you. And if you concentrate, you extract everything from you. And once you understand, means you are for that, and that is for you, because it keeps on moving every day. And generally, we are not used to read it regularly. That is our defect. Particularly, you are busy excessively on sites, activities whole day, and you forget everything when you are on site. That is true, because your concentration is for work and not for office work, but both are important. Site work is very important. You have to keep in mind specifications, drawings, safety, quality, etc. You have to mind everything, otherwise you do not give required results. But on top of that, commercial is also very important. Commercial in a way that you are working for what? Ultimately, you are working for your claims, you are working for your valuation, you are working for your price. That must be paid to you. If somebody asks you to give gold for iron, can you give gold for iron? You cannot give. Justice is justice. You have to deliver what is required, not more than that. Not, yes, you can give more if you can. That's value addition. But you have to claim also. If you are doing job, you must be paid, and that payment is guaranteed by contract. So maybe in evening or some other time, you have to see what you successfully operated and where you failed unsuccessfully. That is called contract operation. Whatever you are doing, you must know under which clause you are working, and are you doing right, or you are spending more than what clause required or what specific is required. That is where contract documents come into play. Yes, when you are in too junior position, you need not worry about that. When you are foreman, your supervisor, your site engineer, maybe you don't worry about that. But once you are in coordination, once you are in junior or senior management, this is your responsibility, because you have to control budget. You have certain budget based on bid. You have itemized based contract. You have applied some price on certain item, and you have to cover your cost on that. Maybe your price is loaded or less loaded. You have covered this item to some other item, probably. You must know that in your original work, which you can get from your quantity engineer who was involved in tendering. So you have a detailed budget with you. If you think there was some mistake of pricing at that time, then you should be clear about, then you manage how to get that item in this price. You have to control each and every item of bill of quantity, and that is actually direction. Bill of quantity itself is kind of detailed budget, because you price that or someone else price that. In that price, your profit is also included if you included in that, or if you applied separately, that's different. So that price shall tell you what you have done, what you have not done. It's not easy. You need support, you need quantity support, you need planner support, you need cost controller support, or you do yourself. So this is tedious job. Now there are divisions, of course. Cost controllers are there, planners are there. They do it. But they do according to their mind. They don't know what's happening on site. They often do not go regularly. They go sometimes to see progress, and particularly in those days when meeting is there, or once a month they come and see, oh, this is that and that is it. Means they are not, and they are dealing with many sites probably. So you have to make your own. You see where you are missing, and you can advise also. See, we are spending less here and more there, more and less there. So budget must be balanced, because you are working towards profit. And if you are not making any profit, there's no reason in project. What's the use of that? If you are going to make losses, means you make losses and losses. Of course, you don't know losses because you are supervisor, but if you are a responsible person, you are project manager or coordinator, then you must know where you are falling, where rising. And that is where, otherwise there's no meaning of work. We are not working for sake of working only. We are working, if you are in contracting company, you are destined to get some money of that. And if you are in consultancy, you have to see that your job is best one. You are getting out of contractor whatever you want. Of course, you also cannot force contractor to give more than what you are paying for, or what's described in the specification. You have to get the same, but somebody wants to give, and you have to be balanced Neither you can support or can't support unduly to contractor. You have to be justified. It's not easy job. It's difficult job. Contractor wants to get more and more, but contractor doesn't want to do what is required to do because contractor is not there. Staff is there. They don't know what's required. They won't give you method statement, for example. This is very much required. They do not want to write method statements because once they write, they agree means they are trapped. They want to do because contract is very cruel one means you may know one method statement, the contractor can write 3 or 4 because he knows how to do all this work this way and that way, and they do it. They will like to save their time in compaction of soil, or they will like to do something else where they can save labor, save work element, say labor element, or hiring of machine element. They do like that. This is means contractor is contract ultimately. You can't avoid that. Fact remains there. Well, purpose was just to involve oneself in various contractual and non-contractual activity. Basics should be clear. It's not that you cram all that and read all that and apply word by word. No, that is only definition. How much you can implement that, to what degree, it depends upon your experience. Sometimes writing is unnecessary, it doesn't mean anything, and sometimes writing is very important. Essence should be clear. And that's the only purpose that I don't prefer advocates to involve in this. Even for claims raising, advocates are not required, engineers are required, claim engineers are required, quantity engineers are required. Those who understand specifications, those who understand laws, those who understand technicalities, such type of people are more important than legal luminaries, because law is distant from contract. If you combine two, you cannot work. You cannot waste time in formalities. Interaction is more important. You go to a consultant come to you, talk together, resolve. Okay, we have on-site resolution, just write a statement and send. Or you send to him, we discuss on-site this and this, and please confirm. That guy confirm. And if that guy doesn't confirm, so automatically it is confirmed. This is practice on contracts. So who bothers about administrative works? This is administrative. Oh, we are standing on site, we decide this. Okay, make a sketch of that, and this was done in this was given in a specification, but we agreed this way, and that's final. So it is same thing as a compliance with the specification. That is required. So we don't need any agency from law point there. Read your specification, read your contract, and understand there's no civil procedure, there is no criminal procedure until something happens. Yes, there's some accident, of course, law comes into play. If there's some robbery from site, law comes into play. But as far as contract is moving smoothly, it's running, not necessary to procure some lawyer come and help me. Lawyer cannot help you there. But they expect that they be there, because after all, it's profession. So this is only reason that detailed specifications and detailed clauses are inserted for contract, and these clauses are very long for other projects which are big one, and for even a small one. You see specifications of clauses or detailed clauses here in this country, CPWD contracts or other contracts, you will find half kachra and half okay. Means they consider contract as their slaves. Are contractors slaves? That's also a question. Why should we devise one-ended contract? We cannot do that. But these contracts are that one, not justified, not based on equity powers. Power of equity is a must when you are dealing commercially. Your money or his money, money is money. You are not saving and you are making losses to that person, that's also not equity based. So we have to understand that. So we'll take up later on. I close it now. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see how best it can be explained to people. And I'm sure people are not very interested in this, but that doesn't make a difference to me as far as it is difficult work, it is technical work, it is contractual work, it is work which amounts to responsibilities and liabilities, not entertainment. Thank you very much.